Alright, one thing I almost forgot to mention is the starter is bolted to the front of the transmission and right in front of the radiator. It bolts down just on the side of it like that. Got two studs that hold it in. There's a bracket over top of the studs that holds a bunch of wire looms. It sits on top of the stud with two 12mm bolts. You want to go ahead and or two 12mm nuts, excuse me. Go ahead and take those nuts loose. You'll be able to pull that bracket up off of there and move the wire looms out of the way. And then you'll be able to get to the studs. The studs are 14mm. Just go ahead and pull those studs, ratchet them out. Speed wrenches work great for this. This whole job can be done with hand tools, but let's face it, power tools and speed wrenches, they really speed up time. I'm gonna go ahead and take that starter studs out now and pry it out of the way. And then we're gonna lift it up and take the wheels out, get the axles out of the transmission, and then we'll be starting on getting that transmission out. Okay, I got the starter out of the way. It's pretty easy once you get the studs out. Just kind of lift back on it and rock it, and it should just kind of fall out of that hole there. You'll see a big U-shaped hole it goes out of. Most of the time they have a little insulator around there too, so don't lose that piece. Now we're going to go ahead and raise it up, take the wheels off, and get these axles out of the transmission. Alright, let's see if I can carry you around here for a second. There we go. Alright, so we got the axle bolt right here. It's actually a 13. Kind of weird, but it is. It comes out pretty easy. You're going to want to get this loose so you can move this however you need it. This is a 14. There'll be a through bolt here. On this side, they were both 14s, which should be from factory. On the other side, it was a 15. I think somebody had changed the bolt already. But, you know, that's whatever. Anyways, you're going to get this loose, get the tie rod loose. Take this out of these brackets up here. So this is loose, got room to move. Take this out in the bottom. Just give this a good whack right here with a hammer. This tie rod will come loose. Whack this a couple times right here on the center. Just turn it all the way like that. Give it some good whacks right here. And that ball joint will come loose. Then you're going to be prying it down with a pry bar to get it out of the way. Then once you get all that loose and the bottom of this thing's loose here, you can just kind of pull out on the bottom of it. You may have to get a little punch, maybe if the axle doesn't come right out. Don't hit the threads. You kind of want to just tap it around the outside of it. You don't want to fuck it up or mushroom it or anything. So you can get the axle out and you just kind of pull it out, move the axle out of the way. Then you can pop the axle out of the transmission. Alright, now the problem you're probably going to run into when you kind of pry this out is that the ball joint, once you get to a certain point, the ball joint actually can't turn anymore, and it doesn't have any more angle. So it's going to stop coming out. You can't pry it down anymore. What you're going to have to do is push on the bottom of the rotor and the whole strut assembly there, kind of push it in so you can get that good angle on the ball joint, and it'll slide the rest of the way out. That passenger side wanted to stick a little more. Sometimes you just kind of got to get the pry bar on it and then get your hammer and just kind of tap down on it and it'll kind of tap out of the way. Axle came out pretty easy. All you got to do is pull on at the bottom. Reach in behind, tap it and pull it out. Turn your strut out of the way. So now we got the axles loose, starters out of the way. Everything's disconnected. You got the one mount in the rear and the bell housing bolts holding it in, and the mount, that 117 on top. So I'm going to go ahead and lift it up, pop these axles out, catch any fluid in the pan that drains out, and then I'll be ready to pull the transmission out. Alright, now to get the axle out on this side, you just got to kind of get in behind that cup there and just bounce it like that against the transmission. Now on the other side, the long stud shaft with a bracket and a bearing bolted to the motor. So on that side, all you're going to do is unbolt that bracket from the motor and that shaft will just slide right out. It doesn't have any clip or nothing to hold it in. I think I just shoved it back in. There we go. Doesn't look like any fluid's draining out on this one. Feels like that back bracket got just 3 14mm bolts on top, 2 right next to each other and 1 a little farther over. Oh, time to change my battery. Looks like I spoke too soon. The bracket for the axle, 1 bolt on the left, 1 on the right, and the third one is right below it, the one on the right. Once you get those 3 bolts out, this thing, you can just be able to move out of the way, just pull it right out of the transmission. Looks like my boot here is missing a little clamp. I'm going to have to get a clamp for it. Alright, so we got everything out. The only thing holding in is that 117 up top and the bottom belt housing bolts and the motor mount, or the engine mount, trans mount, whatever you want to call it, in the back. Gonna get this bottom mount out of the way, put the transmission jack underneath of it, get it steady, take the bottom belt housing bolts out, take that top mount bolt loose in the middle, and then we're just going to wiggle it up out of there. These mount bolts in the back here are 17mm. Sorry, they're rear mount bolts. There's 3 19mm and 1 17. There she blows. 19, 19, 19, 17. Alright, now as you can see, I have a dead man and a transmission jack, because once I release this trans mount up top here, they're only going to be that front motor mount holding that engine in. So you got to make sure that you have something to support it. If you're doing this on the floor, in your garage or whatever, you're going to need 2 jacks. One to support the motor, one to support transmission. Either that or you'll have to have the engine bar that goes across the top that change the motor up to hold it when you pull the transmission out. You're going to need one of the two. You don't want to just let that thing in there hanging with one mount. Now, you probably could. It might break something, it might not break something, but it's really not good. You don't want to do that. So just make sure you support that engine when you're taking this thing out. Alright, so we got all the bolts out, everything's loose. All that's holding it in is that upper mount there. So I can reach up through there with my power ratchet and pull that bolt out of center. So that's what I'm about to do, and this thing's about to come out. She's out, she's loose. Loose as a goose. Oh. There you go, that upper mount. You got these on the studs so it can't pull out, and then you got this center bolt holding it in to it right there. Like I said, if this rubber here looks ripped at all, don't let it hang on like that, like I did. But as long as your rubber looks good, you'll be just fine. So she's loose and we're ready to take her out. Have to let both of these down right now. Let them down together. So I can get room to wiggle this baby out. Hello. Now it's not really flat. There's no pin on it, it's like automatic. So you're going to have to be able to stable it. Probably use a strap or something to hold it. It actually looks like you're going to have to remove the rest of this rear motor mount bracket right here that I bolt to, because it's getting in my way and hitting the transmission. We're going to jack it back up and get that out of the way, and then we'll come down. Oh yeah, you're loose, ain't you? She's out. Now we got no obstruction. It's already out of the dial, so we're just gonna hold her steady and let her down gently. Let her down easy, fellas. Don't hurt her. Don't hurt her. Oh yeah, there we go. All the motor right there. Oh yeah, that's wiggle it out. Like I said, that's the hole. There we go. Once you get the shaft all the way out. Just let her on down. Careful this back part here doesn't catch on the subframe and roll your transmission. Try to keep an eye on it. Now I get to find out how heavy it is. Oh, she's a lightweight. Oh yeah! Oh man, yeah, she's beautiful, rocking around all noisy like. Woo, that's disgusting. Looks like we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10mm bolts holding that pressure plate in. We're gonna pop them out. We're gonna see what this clutch looks like. Is she dead or is she dead? Got some scarring, a little light scarring. Yeah, it's not as bad as I was thinking, but these pads are definitely wore out. They've been slipping too long. You can see all these metal strands in here pretty much gone. The main friction things, fibers. Now we get into the real noise problem. You see that? That, my friend, is a roller bearing out of the pilot bearing for the input shaft. That's where your noise comes from. That bearing is toast, falling to pieces. I had to get me a little slide hammer in there and pull it out. Got my little slide hammer here. Just gonna get these inside that input shaft pilot bearing there. Just gonna pull it right on out. I hope. ladies and gentlemen, there it is. Alright, so we got all that out. You got your pilot bearing out, your clutch is all out and everything. Just go ahead, get you some brake cleaner, clean off all the clutch area, the surface area inside the hole where the pilot bearing is. Grease, put a tiny amount of grease in where that pilot bearing is to help it when we reinsert it. Basically that's it. I'll put some torque specs, whatever you need, in the comment section, or in my description actually, sorry. And then basically everything's going to be reverse order. Like I said, I'll put the torque specs for the pressure plate and all that in the description of the video. Anyways, there you have it, 2008 Mazda 3S hatchback, 5 feet I think. Clutch replacement. If you have any questions, any issues, if you're doing this yourself, feel free to comment. You know, ask me anything you want. I don't care. I'll tell you. I got the information available up here and in my system. So, whatever your need is, I promise I can take care of it for you. So give me a shout out, give me a holler, tell me thank you, tell me you hate me, tell me I'm a bullshitter, tell me I don't know what I'm doing. I don't really care. Thank you for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe, tweet, do whatever you want. Have a good day. Thank you for tuning in. Jacob is out.